But we haven't started checking. Oh, most of our agendas say 6 p.m.
I jumped on that when I pulled up.
Somebody caught it.
When I pulled up to the door and Dylan said, well, the agenda says 6 p.m. But I'm like, what? No, we're not. I have no idea. That's it. I have no idea where that is. I don't know. Okay.
Well, at 6:30, I'd like to call the meeting to order. Let's end and say pledge of allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Welcome everybody to the meeting this evening, and appreciate you attending. Our first item on our agenda is approval of the minutes from the select board meeting dated September 3rd. Special select board meeting dated August 28th, 2025. So any motion for the approval of those? Let's start with the September 3rd minute. Okay, I made the motion.
Second?
Ariane, second. Any comments, concerns?
Excuse me, please remember to speak into your microphones. Thank you.
Thank you for the reminder. Do we have any corrections?
A question, maybe a correction. On page 2, line 27. Arnie asked if Julie had met with the snowmobile club and she said they thought they were on town property and it was an error on their part. I think that what you said was thought they were on private property, which is a significant difference. And then I had a question on page 5, line 17. It was decided they should differentiate between the road foreman and road chairman. And I think it was commissioner there. And then the last one I had, I think it was the last one, page 6, line 16. Tim said that the policy raised the foundation for the discussion. And I think I said set the foundation, not that that's kind of a semantics thing, but. Or created the foundation for the discussion. That's all I had.
Anyone else? I had a couple on page 6, line 39. Decision was made to hold for the users. I was not sure. So water. Clarified.
Sorry, I didn't hear that, Lee.
Sorry, on page 39, insert water between the and users about halfway through that line. Hold the rates low for the water users. And then on page 7, line 31. Julie said they had asked and they would not give the town permission, and I just wondered who they were. I think it's the state, right? It's the Rainbow Rock, and we had asked. If we could.
The state would
Yeah.
not
State.
give, yeah.
All I had. All right, all in favor of the September 3rd, 2025 meeting minutes as amended, please signify by saying aye. Aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Thank you. Now the August 28th meeting minutes. We'll entertain a motion to accept the minutes.
Move to approve the minutes from August 28th special select board meeting.
I'll second.
In second, any changes, corrections?
I had none.
You already know. Okay, so I had a couple on page 1. line 25. Where it says and farms, or farm, I think we need to add the word signs in there. The only thing that is non-monetary is a horse crossing and farm sign.
What line was that?
It's on line 25, page 1. On line 2, page 4. Julie said there were meetings with Dave and the landowners. 2, sorry, did I say 1? 2. Why what I said in half. Line, I said line 4, so,
David. David,
okay,
that was Dr. David.
yeah, I just wanted clarifications, I could.
Yeah.
Okay, that was all I had. Any further changes? All in favor of the August 28, 2025 meeting minutes as amended, you say aye. Aye. Opposed, nay. Thank you. Next is on our agenda, before we get to citizen comments, I would like to make a statement. As many of you know, Bill Dakin, like we moved out of town and are up in White River Junction. Bill has resigned as moderator. And I just want to recognize his 40 years of service in that position, 40 years of service as town moderator. We'll be talking about this more under new business, but just wanted to recognize that. Record service that he's given to us. Here, here. All right, next is citizens' comments. Is there anyone in the audience that would like to address the board on something that is not on the agenda? All right, next is old business. Oh, I'm sorry, Mr. Bidwood, come on up and introduce yourself. Paul Bidwood.
So I talked to Jim today. I was gonna step in the old business. I talked to Jim today. He is waiting on a couple documents that are being researched and provided for him. So that is the whole function. A little bit of information, supporting documents and Walt. So that is. So what order you put?
Excuse me, I can't hear Mr. Bidgood at all.
Rick, I had asked for an update when I would receive. Requested information. Fifth letter where I wanted some clarifications on the report that Peter Pepkins had put together, or my more recent request for an explanation of what is done on a road in the smoke shade area. I just wanted to.
Sure, so I think we've answered both. So I think what I was answering with Jim Carroll was the first one.
Okay.
The second one, response is what I gave last week. I mean, the Somerville Club made improvements to the section of road. We did not have council to do that. I mean, I've been clear about that. I think it was an error on their part. I know.
You said that, my problem was that the town road, just north of that, was another road that historically is that the town road, like both town roads. You know, I'm gonna watch, if I'm down on Smoke Shade and I wanna walk up the hill, which way did I go? Where is the town road? It is stated in the contract, it's not competitive, that the town road is not for 750 feet. And the Smallville Club is gonna do some work. But that's the correct decision. They work on this other way. So you know.
Yeah, I'm confused, cause
I'm
I,
confused.
well, some of that is not stuff I've heard before. So
Right.
that's why I'm confused.
I'm recused from this anyway, so it doesn't, I don't have any statements to say as a selectman here.
So, and then also, yes, moving forward, I mean, this is an opportunity for comment. We're not necessarily gonna answer your questions, but if you wanna put them in writing so that we have. some-
Okay, I'll do that.
Yeah,
Yeah, and I don't mean to push it off, Paul. I just want to-
but if you could clarify your second question, because what you're saying tonight is different than what I've been hearing. That's a different question about two different roads, and I haven't heard that before. So, if you could clarify, that would be helpful.
Yeah, kind of putting it forward. It's not presumption, but I'll put it in the director, he has the idea, I'll sketch out what I want. But it seems that someone in the know could say, that's the kind of road, and that's what I don't do, but I will, you know, there's no sense in affording here. I'll make a little map, I'll submit it to Julie, and we'll see that.
Thank you.
I appreciate it. All right, thank you.
So next is old business. Julie, you wanna take us through it?
I can,
Oh, hold on.
No.
Derek, do you have something you'd like to say? Okay. Yeah. Thank you, though. Thanks.
Old business, so the improvements to the green, the demonstration, everybody can tell has been picked up. We did receive 50-something surveys, so that was great. They were all pretty positive. We only had one or two that just had some smart comment to make, but, they were, for the most part, all positive. They're gonna put together a report for me that will support any, initiatives or decisions we make going forward. So that is done, and I think was successful. Just to let everybody know, I did receive information from Jeff Hopper. This is regarding the well drilling. That they're gonna be starting, or they did start today. Beth is here, and maybe if you want to give an update on where that's at. Sure. Might be a good idea, and then you can go right into your other thing, Jeff.
Yeah, I was up there with Jeff, identify it. Yeah.
Was up there with Jeff. Today and they started doing yesterday. What they're doing is to get some 24-inch pipe. Increasing that. Testing the soil as they got through. And then we found that rock.
Excuse me, Jeff. Can you pull the microphone closer? When people sit back, it doesn't pick your voice up as well. Thank you.
Okay, so anyway, they're gonna be putting 24-inch sleeves down in there. They're testing the soil as they go, and that's gonna decide what type of screen they put in there and what type of gravel they're gonna put on the outside. What they do is when they get that hole opened up, they slide a 16-inch screen down in there and they fill gravel around it. And they're gonna decide which type of screed or which type of gravel is best for that location. And the drilling is going slow because it's very bony. And they still have to get a hole big enough to get the 24-inch sleeve down through there. But it's like an auger type. Yeah. I don't think so, no. I didn't see him put it in the ground, but last time they were here, they had the big bit with the teeth on it and it slowly augering through because of the stone to get through. But it's gonna be, and it'll be 4 to 6 weeks after they figure out after what the soil is or what the gravel is. And it'll probably be longer than that before we get the screen and the gravel. So I imagine it's gonna be 2 to 3 months before we can put that in. And then we have to pump test it for 6 days to decide what kind of production we're gonna get. So that's where that's at. I'm glad they finally started. Cause I mean, I've been watching the water table and through the drought and everything, it has dropped down. It was down to, it's normally like 28 feet and it dropped down to 24. Cause they were using a lot of water this summer for the gardens and stuff. But that's since that's stopped, people aren't watering their flowers and stuff so much. It's come back up to 25 feet, so.
Not done special. That feels quite a bit, but we have put stuff out on Facebook, just cautioning people are in a drought. So be mindful.
We're gonna have, actually, what was it, last week I saw the, normally have 8 inches of rain.
The revenues level for the whole state. More fire. Level 2, high level 2. Is that as low as that water level been year, 10 year?
No, we've had it lower yet. That was quite a few years ago though. It's been down to like 21 foot, something like that.
That's still not bad considering that pump is like, what, 60, 70?
It's a 75 horse pump. But- Oh, it's only 40 feet. Yeah, but when it's pumping, the tone drops down. And I turned it to pump back, so it's not pumping 420 gallons. But not fucking too much thing, but on that,
So the new well that they're putting in should be comparable to the well that's in there. That is basically the same aquifer, same area.
yeah, the whole thing I haven't do is go with the new name, you know, I mean, I haven't been able to do a lot of things. Couldn't be done. Because I wanted it to go up and you can't shut it off for the. Yeah. Good to get up in there one, so we can switch it over, you know, that. Maybe sort other back.
And then Jeff, while you're here, if you could give an update on the water meter installation.
Yeah, we're getting down to, we're under 100 watt. So the problems were run into, it's not like one of the this though. Everybody knew. And when I was at the house, they let me in that problem. People now, first of all, there's a lot more at home. Run around. And between that and the people that are gone to work, we having trouble, but we're running into quite a few more people that they just don't want to let us in the house. And they don't understand. First of all, it's only going to take 5 minutes to do what we need to do. And it's going to help everybody in the system to have these meters in there. We've already had several people that we've caught that, you know, by looking at the computer, it shows, you know, some people were, you know, using water in the middle of the night when they know they're not using it. So I've gone and talked to them and they're like, oh, we didn't know that. And go in and assist them and find where the leak is. So we're saving water that way. And a couple of people were very appreciative because they were using like 7-8 gallons an hour at night, you know, so it adds up over a month.
Have identified a list of meter going to not going to be targeted letters and phone calls to them. And the guys are going to, pull some weekend hours, make sure my people work during the week. But we need to get them completed in order to complete our capital plan for water sewer beginning of next year. We need 2 good readings with 100%. So we want to get those in and get them going before we do our November review. Yeah, our November. So we're pushing on that, but we're using this as an opportunity to get out to Zappa. If you're in the village and your meter has not been changed, you need to call, because at some point there's gonna be a consequence. for that.
Right.
Like,
You know, we need this for. Data. Eventually.
Right on.
Having the buying goal system. You only want, the world is one. You know, that happened before. So, I don't know, some people say, well, they don't want the radio wave going to them or whatever, but it's a cell thing. Same thing you got on your side.
And there was radio waves before, but I had get within 1,000 feet to read them with my handheld and stuff. So, that went from 3 or 4 days reading. When we got this system, it's like 3 or 4 hours. And now this will just be like an automatic thing. But if anybody has any questions about their system and with the app, they can look on their own and see what they're using themselves. If they get,
They come in, we've had people come in. Have it, swear that. I don't. They already got a meter, and he brought it up, well, you work from down water on it. Like, if I do have. So let you know, that adds up the whole. Any other questions? No. We're working on, I'll admit, 2 guys, I get doing it. 2 big guys, and you're not gonna answer the size of them, and they scare me. But they're really good guys, they have the town truck and they have the town ID and everything, they are legit.
good guys, one day.
Yeah.
That's what we're.
Okay.
That's what we're. Thanks, Jeff.
Thanks, Jeff.
One other update for you guys, so, we're starting to get a lot of phone calls about dirt roads. The bumping with the dirt roads. So, the issue is, there's no rain. So it's hard, you cannot grade a road that is bone dry. So we have used up all but, I think, 700 gallons of our chloride. So, we will be ordering more chloride, we will be over budget on that. But the other thing that Kirby's done is he's got permission from the state to use our tankers to draft. So we'll be drafting from the river. And we'll be using water with the chloride on some of the roads that are the worst. So, like Kirby said, this is a situation we've never really been in. But the concern is that, we're heading into winter. We can't go into winter with. We will have enough to. So we've got to do something. So we will be ordering more chloride. You can see that budget run go over. And people may see the tankers drafting from the river. We're drafting from the river versus taking from an already low well. We don't want to draw 10,000 gallons off the well if we don't need to, if we have permission from. So people may see that, just kind of getting the word out there, and we are working on the road. We know they're bad. It's not that they're not sitting around doing nothing. You can't grade a bone gun. Problem number 1. So. Yeah, there you go. I know. And then my only last thing was, we had talked last time about the second meeting in October. I don't know if you guys have decided right now, there's not a whole lot on me that would be on the agenda, but, for now, you can certainly use it without me. I don't need to be here, or you can use it for the following Wednesday. Up to you guys, and you don't have to make a decision until having the next meeting, but.
I have a question, because,
talk to, they have a subcontractor that's gonna install the pot.
Oh, we go straight, yeah.
So, temperature differential. Way off.
We're supposed to be connected to the last work, no, we heard this 2 other times, but we could get a date of next. Again, you heard that before. Oh, no, absolutely. If it gets much later, that's that thing. But no, we were told. For the.
Other opening for the volunteers.
Oh, yes, that was wonderful. Great. Great spot. So we'll plan to do that every year.
I think that was a big success. I met people who volunteered for the town that I never knew volunteered for the town.
Absolutely, that's kind of the
Right?
point, right? It is, these are all the people that run this town, this is what.
Takes a village to run a village.
Exactly.
We got some more trees.
Oh, and yes.
I saw them go by, yeah.
Yes, so, go down to the Pinnacle, they're all in down at the Pinnacle, and they look amazing. They look amazing. There are two, one, is going on the end of the green, and the other one will be going across the street, close to the Baptist church. Those will go in next week after it's all done. But yeah, the new trees are in, and down the Pinnacle, I think they're very big difference, you have it here by, that's by.
Terrific moose one.
And the moose lights in there, apparently the moose there this afternoon.
This morning.
Morning, well, there you go.
Where was it?
Everybody probably?
Rocky, giving away your age now.
Any other old business? Establishing an economic development committee, so you should have got a couple of, pieces of information. And Preston, I believe, is gonna come up. Up with this, so I saw 2 documents, the governing bylaw and the job description, which I did do a word to word comparison, they look.
They're very similar. So, before Preston starts, so the impetus behind this is, I think we wanted to start an economic development commission for a couple of years. We don't have an active, one in town, and I do think that there's tremendous value to having an economic development commission that is a subcommittee of the select, not a subcommittee of the, but has some authority to kind of designate it. We focus a lot on taxes, but we don't focus a lot on growing our brand list and growing our economy. So I certainly don't have time to do it on my own. So, or the skill set. So much like the housing commission, I think it's really important that we have an economic development commission that is a standalone group of skilled individuals in that area that can work with the town. Preston and I, like the housing commission, Preston and I would be members of the economic development commission too, so that there's continuity between the town. But I had asked Preston to kind of take this on and develop some bylaws and a job description and kind of go run with this. So that's how we got here.
So, my point earlier, I don't think I got that right.
You probably did.
Now, so here's what I have, so this
This is,
is my job description.
no, that's your bylaw.
If you look at this, it says
Mhm.
job description, right? there.
Yeah. It
Oh,
If you look at governing bylaws.
looks like the same document.
So I did not get a copy of whatever fills that out.
oh, interesting. That's weird.
Yeah, and I was looking at it like a paper one. Yeah, I think that.
Yeah, do you want me to go make you copies of
If you
this?
don't mind.
Yes, please.
Preston, do you want me?
What do you got? 2 of these, Tim, or 2 of those? I got 2 of these, the ones labeled job description.
Oh, no.
But they're the same.
They're the same.
Yeah, so here's mine, this says governing bylaw here, but it says job. So Yeah, well, really, what I was gonna say is a lot of what you had already said, which is that, we did establish housing production, you did in 2023, that's great news. And it's kind of a powerhouse group because of that, but we, they're making a lot of progress, even with time. So we've been wanting to do an economic development commission also, and, so that's, maybe connection is really kind of. If it's called a commission, it's given a little bit more regard. And yeah, I don't think we're going to be coming to you with too many more commissions because it just takes time. Julie said her husband Jeff already said another night out. But we feel this one's important enough. I think by way of background, I'll just say that if you go online and look at travel guides and travel sites and things like that, they say that Chester is one of the top 10 in terms of pretty towns with a pretty green. And yet, you know, the tried and true formula in Vermont of cows grazing and antique shops and pretty leaves is just not working with younger people as much in terms of bringing tourists here. And so many towns, including the town that I live in, which is Woodstock, are all about, you know, we have. But I think we want to talk about more than just tourists. I mean, we want to bring in.
Correct.
I worked pretty hard to get, now I can't think of them, the people at Baba Louie's,
Yeah, sure.
Sugar Bob's. And while they haven't developed a public face quite as much, that's the kind of group we want to get here. And, you know, they had some zoning issues they had to work through. They had some issues about employees and that's kind of what it takes. So I think we're really hoping that we can get another powerhouse commission of people who have the skills of, you know, finance and business and marketing and, you know, and sell ourselves a little better and keep ourselves going.
Ways to attract business to town. There's a lot of tools that are available to municipalities to attract business. They're complex and you know, to take on this next role and look at drawing grants, look at actually bringing business down, doing those types of things. You know, you need a separate group that is focused on that. And it's just as important. I mean, like I said, we always look at the tax side, how to lower taxes, how to lower taxes. We've got to look at how to raise the grand list. They go hand in hand. It's very important.
And I guess the other thing, you know, the regional commission does some community profiles, and our profiles like so many. Now, we don't think we're dying.
Right.
I think can't just assume that. So I would like that. There's a limit, this is the mission statement. And we that as the party and the culture. They don't know that enough to stand it. Yeah, but we did this going and I'll go build the story. So start off with all these remote and emphasize tourism and business, like services to good, compare the lighting.
And add forestry and agriculture.
Yeah, because that's great.
Mhm.
Well, no, and the thing is, a lot of marketing, at least on the agriculture, value added agriculture. And so the food and the ag side of things.
And then on the forestry side, I mean, yeah, I mean. Forestry, of course, but there is also what element of. Because it was very carbon bears or.
Talking about our rights. Yeah, boring.
So, yeah, okay, I'll figure out a way. Yep. The tourism thing, it's also, there's more than just tourism, the recreational tourism, which is getting big in demand. We use, you know, what we have and what value we still, I don't know how it's still. There's a real set of people who will come to town.
People a little more. And then also, sometimes they bring their family and the kids are like, you know, this is boring. Yeah.
So there was a group that worked on marketing Chester. Dave Nanfelt, I think, was at the one of the, Bill Dakin was involved in that, right?
I don't know if they officially dissolved, okay? I'm not, I have to say, well, they were lasting somewhat after before.
Right, when I retired in 2019, I spent some time helping with their brochure that they
There you
did.
go, yeah,
And that seemed very effective. It was distributed at rest stops and
Yep.
I don't know where
Yep.
all, but
Yep.
they put a lot of copies of that
Yeah.
out.
yeah. That group has not been active. But a lot of the members of that are no longer here.
Right,
And that was a separate, that was not a division of town. They were a standalone entity.
right.
They were their own corporation.
Were they called the CEC?
They were.
They
the
were,
CED.
they were, yeah,
They were.
yeah.
And then they merged with another nonprofit and became something else. Yeah, the Community Alliance, the Chester Community Alliance.
I wonder if some of the folks who were involved with that, who maybe weren't at the point, might be potential candidates for this.
Potentially, we could certainly, I mean, we would, if you agree to set this up,
Right.
we
of
would
course.
certainly advertise like we do for the housing commission. We would advertise and far and wide. And see what we can get done. Yeah, that's.
Great.
It seems like it could be really, housing, to make sure that if there is a chapter of the CBDC, then it just, that would be. Yeah, yeah, good way.
That was actually
Yeah.
Chester.
But it would have the same acronym. You might wanna- Yeah. Yeah.
Well, so any thoughts on how this governing bylaws played out? I like it, like you're not gonna show up. You're out of it.
Well, we did it with the
But-
housing commission
But
too, right?
potentially.
Yeah.
Yeah. Little, right, but it's put out of there, yeah.
And I think that's good. I
Yeah.
agree.
No, we've had. I mean, the housing commission had a fair rotation of members.
Yeah.
So there are people that have gone off.
Yeah.
people that have
Come
gone
back
off.
on.
But.
It's a very active group,
Very active.
very active,
Right.
In 2 years, I think.
yes.
Yeah.
We set up in, August of 2020.
And they've got a lot, but they've got a lot of irons in the fire and a lot that they're working on, and I've never seen a committee of 9 people actually run their meeting and be in and out in an hour and actually be effective, and it's like, Kristen and I are like, oh yeah, let's go.
Makes it a lot easier to do it for family. That's 6 and 7.
Yeah.
All right.
Joe runs a really tight meeting.
Alright.
But anyway.
10 minutes over.
you're
Yeah,
telling us
yeah.
that was not to be quite comparison. Your topics are not quite the same. So anyway, if you're in agreement, we'll make the changes that you
Yeah, we'll make the
recommended.
changes, and I was, I'll admit. A little about the
former economic development board, and I'll know that a little more about, I'll find out, like, are there resolved to the secretary of state's office? I believe that.
Yeah.
Probably do it.
Yes, and I have no big.
Okay. So, before we go, can we talk about the job description? Yeah.
I haven't read it yet, so. But we can talk about it.
Sure. John, come on up. Yeah. Ah, so. Of all transactions and meeting minutes, well, it's, that was boilerplate language, and we could always say transactions out.
There we go.
They're not gonna have their own.
No, any,
Transactions,
Right.
Right.
I didn't read it as always concerned that, but, you did see that they would. Predict you. That they would.
Was my question when I was looking at the chapter development fund. And whether that's gonna be appropriate for this group, or should it be new and drafted, because I remember this one being. Pretty loose, pretty easy to apply just about anything that it's what more to do, as opposed to something that is more directed to just business development or development in general.
well, and you guys have charged me with taking a look at that in comparison to the equipment fund. So we can also have that in mind. For the well,
From my point of view of the economic development.
what was that?
I think Arnie's asking me whether, I thought you were at, select board kind of had free hand with that economic development fund. And was wondering whether one who this would make recommendations to the right.
Oh,
If I'm just-
so you mean like,
No, I don't mean directly, but I mean,
Yeah.
it is a source of financing that they can.
Oh,
they could act,
consider.
but they would come to the select
Yeah,
board for
okay.
that approval.
Okay.
Yeah, not the other way around.
Select board.
Yeah. Now, when there were individuals that came to the town for loans, there was a caveat that they went to the old CDBC. We haven't done that in years. They go to Bob Flint. Bob does the vetting. I would say that still needs to be the case. Because if they go through a committee of the town, all of their financials are open to public record, and we don't want to do that. So I would say let the financial authorities, not authorities, the financial entities that can review and have the staffing to review financials and make a recommendation to them. But that would be my recommendation, that
Keep it-
still comes through as our,
More discreet.
Well, we're not paying to do that.
we pay them 10,000.
Yep.
But they have the staffing that have to make.
any thoughts or comments on the job description?
Wonder if we should add something, to bullet point 7, to Peter's point about agriculture and forestry.
That's what I was gonna say.
Yeah, I mean, you are quite right, that the job description. Pulls the same things out of, and so that gets it. Other than that, no, it was really good.
Other than, I mean, those minor changes, what is it gonna? It doesn't sound like we have anything, unless Lee is looking at the English now, and then we're all in trouble for a while.
Well, if we're missing anything, it's including but not limited to.
Yep.
So that kind of opens
Right.
the door to whatever
Yep.
good idea might come along that might not.
Yeah.
specifically mentioned.
And again, living document, you can modify the bylaws as time goes on. You can modify as needed. as the board gets permission from the process. Okay, so we'll make the changes, do a little research, and we will come back next week.
Terrific, good work.
Yeah, Carson. Next is, SEPTA appointment. I'm not sure if I'm saying the name, but list of recipes being recommended.
Yes, yep, Liz has been
Thank you,
on,
Carson, safe travels.
Thanks. Liz has been on the Selectboard, we appointed her a few years ago, looking to be reappointed.
No, so moved.
Here's the motion.
Second,
Well, when I'm reading this, we have this position and this person representing us. Once a year, or maybe once in a while, they come in and give us an update on what's going on with it. To get a little idea of what's happening in our name.
I think you know, if she can come in at a recent future meeting.
Well, so-
All right, any other comments or? All those in favor of appointing Elizabeth Liz Kresge as Chester representative to the SEPTA board, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Thank you, Liz, if you're listening. Next is the class 4 road policy. Arnie, SVP, like to sure.
Basically what we did is just take some of the recommendations that the board put forward and changes and corrections. Hopefully we got them all that were suggested, changed some wording in there, and at least some minor issues that we had with it. But other than that, it's pretty much the way it was before, minus those changes that were requested and brought out at the last meeting. So that's the document we ended up with. If there's any questions or anything that we missed?
Yeah, I would like to see the agency of the resource and say that, I have been notified that even the black board road. Yeah, that's the like to post. They don't say, I have to go look at the black board.
And I remember seeing that, Peter, it's on the second page and it's under the supervision by the road commissioner or highway foreman. And so how would it be? I saw that and I couldn't figure out where it was supposed to be added in.
Well, I think, it almost be a thing, but the thing is, the agency of resources that it does, when happens, when it goes that practice, starts following specific best practices.
So- Run that by me again, exactly where, on what do you want, number 1, number 2, number 3?
I would be number 4.
Add one, add a whole thing.
And number 4. Must follow best practices as determined by Vermont Agency of Natural Resources.
Or,
That'd be
oh,
4B subsection triple I.
Four. Oh, okay, yeah, it's just, number 4, 3,
Yeah.
4 eyes in a row or whatever.
Julie, did you get that?
yeah. Not yet, though.
If that's the only change, then, okay.
Yeah.
And I had it on the side there, and I'm looking at the different parts, and I couldn't figure out where to put it in. Okay, but I see what you're saying, the problem is, I didn't look at this after, the next day after the meeting. And 3 days later, I'm looking at it, and most of them made sense, and then I caught 1 or 2, and I should have looked at it next day. Thank you.
I also was able to have a conversation with Jim, and the select board does, in his opinion, the select board does have the authority to delegate their responsibilities with roads to the road foreman. With the exception of Penfield.
That has to go to the select board,
Penfield is the select board.
which I think it states in here.
Yeah.
Yeah, the
So
only-
that was the answer. That was a question that was brought up.
Right.
when We talked about that.
In the places where there was any authority given, it was always to the road foreman in conjunction with the town manager. And then with the availability of an appeal to the justice.
Yep.
But that's basically it was for any of it.
Yeah.
Because we shouldn't be dealing with the day-to-day activities of things that are pretty straightforward as far as, you know, from the.
Right. Yeah.
That.
Yeah.
I could see the part about the gate.
Yeah, the Kent Road stuff is Jim said they should not be done.
But that's it. What we got.
So I got out my red pen. Just that, the only thing I caught was that
On the new one, right?
sometimes we capitalize class. Like class 4 highway, sometimes we don't, so just, it doesn't matter, but. you can put that. And then on but the page that starts with number 5, control, that's page 3. The 5C, the second line. Imposition of requirements for temporary permit for heavy equipment access which may include a stipulation that any highway damage will be repaired by or at the expense of. And I was wondering whether we want to clarify that by saying highway damage.
Hmm.
I'm not sure what the difference is. Yeah, I think there is a minor difference there. And then I was gonna say, maybe we need to clarify what that damage would be. So as an example, I was thinking that somebody who's using the class 4 highway and it's already damaged, then are they responsible for going back and fixing it because the highway has been damaged, but they didn't cause that damage? And I don't know if that's reading much into this language.
Well, it's the problem is. They were told us that all the time, I thought that some asshole, this is part of it, will take a 4-wheel drive and punch it right all the way to the bridge. The next guy along, possible, fix it on the water. That's kind of how you kind of define
Who did the damage?
who we can get.
Well, so this is related.
Damage by the user will be repaired
Right.
by. or-
Yeah, because it's for a temporary permit. So that defines who is responsible for it, but the question is, are they responsible to repair any highway damage? Or any highway damage, or maybe it's the same thing, so any highway damage during their use or
Yeah.
something, you know,
Any highway that they did.
Right, any highway damage by the user.
by the user,
will be
by the
repaired
permit,
by or at the
permit
expense
holder.
of-
By the permit holder
Permit holder.
during,
Well, it may not be the permitted work, as Peter just
Okay.
pointed out, if you're driving up and down to get to the place where you work, if you damage the road, right, you should fix it.
I just say user because at the end of that, right before the comment, refers to the. May include a stipulation that any highway damaged by the user will be repaired by or at the expense of the. Or of said user.
And I think a lot of this when like, especially something like that, when they're looking for a temporary. That the road commission can be involved and say, hey, what's the road? Let's go take a look at it. It's in this shape, it's in that shape, it's already messed up. How long do you need it better than, or at least in the condition that it's in now or whatever. But I would hope that the road commission would be able to make those decisions that are in the minutia of all
or
this stuff.
that would be the highway foreperson probably, which,
Right.
right, yeah,
That would, highway.
some places, yeah.
I think
You got more red ink coming over here.
Whether if we take the D out of damage, that restricts it to the actual repair. So where we have any damage by the user, any highway damage caused by the user or whatever,
Yeah,
I think that's more
I'm with you. That makes more sense.
restrictive than any highway damage.
Yep.
I think it could be anywhere. I'm not a lawyer.
Seems like we got a little stretch here, so there's
Yeah.
a section of the road and we're gonna say whatever damage is anywhere in town.
Well, yeah,
That's why it's caused by.
yeah, I think just that clarification. That was the only thing I really thought of for PC.
I just had one thing and it's happens that it typed it in red when I put it on here. It's not Lee's influence. It's the PDF. On the first page, under legal trails, and this is just semantics probably for clarification. The town has no statutory obligation for maintenance, repair, or safety. I would add comma upon legal trails.
Well, part of the definition. So would, I'm assuming it would be the legal trail because it's part of the definition.
That's not disagreeing with you. I think it's dotting the I. So.
It's- I just like clarity, that's all.
Hey, can you go deal with those?
Derek, do you have anything you'd like to say?
I did, but I wasn't ready to bump in yet unless you want me to.
No, I just heard your mic was unmuted, so I wasn't sure if you were talking to us or not, but yeah, go ahead.
Paragraph or section 6, change in classification, section A. There was quite a bit of pushback at the last meeting about the statement. It is the policy of the select board to discontinue or discourage the reclassification. My copy that I received still has that in there. Is that really the policy of the select board?
Well, I guess we haven't really talked about it in depth. We had some feedback from,
Yeah, you did talk about that at the last meeting about.
we had feedback.
Yeah, but I didn't have any notes about changing it, except for adding the part about the voters of the town of Chester, however, the petition and stuff. But I didn't have anything specific about taking that out or changing. So,
Well, they may have been me because I was thinking originally when I read this that, if we're discouraging the reclassification of a road, does that inhibit us in any way from making improvements to a road or reclassifying a class 4 to class 3 to allow more housing or more access to property?
I think, sorry, go ahead.
And I guess, you know, the word discourage is not as prohibitive as prohibit, so to speak. So I guess the question is, is there any advantage to leaving the word discourage in there, or do we make it less onerous, so to speak, or do we come up with some different language? Because again, I can see circumstances where we would want to discourage reclassification of road and others where we don't want. So is this, we need to dance around that word, I guess.
What,
Go ahead.
Lee, oops.
Go ahead, hold on a second, Derek. Go ahead, Ariana.
First question, it is the policy. Do you have a policy?
This is the policy.
well, if we adopt this policy, then it would be.
The referencing of the policy.
Yeah, I think that's what
I
it is.
just don't know if that's serving.
Yeah, that's a good point, Ariana, because if the policy doesn't necessarily say anywhere else besides right here says A, that's our philosophy. I think that's the point. Is it the philosophy of the select board to do this or not? Or do we just say, as we suggested, upon receipt of a petition, blah, blah, blah. Leave that out, because then we're not putting words in our own mouths or future select board's mouths about how they want to handle reclassification or upgrade of highways.
So I don't disagree that we could strike that, because if you go to 6B, it says reclassification or discontinuance will be done in accordance with 19 VSA A decision to alter, reclassify, or discontinue a class 4 road will only be made in situations where the select board determines that the public good, necessity, and convenience of the inhabitants of the town require. So that says that we're not leaning toward doing it. You need to give us a good reason to do it.
Right. Okay. So based on that, you guys agree that striking that first sentence and modifying the second sentence in 6A is appropriate?
I don't think it changes the document. It doesn't take any teeth out of the document, and to Ariana's point, we don't have a policy now. It is kind of superfluous.
Right, yeah, exactly, yeah, that was a modification.
Mhm. So start with capital U upon,
Right.
and everything before that would be stricken. Is that what everybody's saying?
That was my follow-on comment. I'm having a hard time with my audio, so I'm dropping people's comments. So I'll just throw this out there and then be quiet. My recommendation would have been to strike the whole of paragraph or subparagraph A because it really doesn't say anything. You could start with paragraph B, which does everything that you need to do and follows statute quite precisely.
Yeah, but in paragraph A, that part about the voters of the town, that is the status quo. So that is part of it.
It's a
So it's
different
already
statute.
oh, it is.
A different
Yeah, but
statute.
it's still, it's a.
Think that, because the other one is 708, 7.
I see, okay.
But I could understand why taking out the discouraged part of it, because sometimes when you put in aspirations or things that aren't that definite, it just gives fuel to a lawsuit in one way or another, but somebody would say, hey, look, it says discouraged, so why are you going this route? Whereas if you don't have it in there, you have to use that. And we still have the same amount of power and the same kind of authority to do what we have to do regarding the growth, because like somebody pointed out, or I'll with you, about the public good, necessity, and convenience of the inhabitants of the town. I mean, that covers it pretty much.
Well, what is,
I think, you know, not necessarily disagreeing with Eric, but I do think that the harm received, paragraph that is appropriate.
I agree, because it references petitions from the voters,
Right.
and that's not referenced anywhere else, I don't think.
And it is an avenue of, recourse.
Right, it's one more besides, just a request
So,
to,
that's
right,
what-
yes.
Ariane, anyone else?
So are we clear on what we're doing there at this point?
Based on our discussion, we're gonna strike in paragraph A of 6, changing classification, everything from it is the policy to however, we're gonna start that with a capital U upon receipt of petition.
Okay,
Something like that sounds like it would be better off than the town plan. Building some tires, and things like that,
Yeah.
where here's what we'd like to do.
Yep, I agree. Derek, thank you for bringing that to our attention.
Yes, and you're welcome. And I would agree with starting it with upon. That's just fine.
Good. Any other discussions or comments on this particular document? Yes, Mr. Bidgood, come on up and let us know your thoughts.
Well, it's good, on delegation. It just appears to be that, there should be documents, on it, that the board can delegate the document to, the motion, the motion to do the things that are said in, make you try back and forth, that you have a power to delegate. I have seen, I personally want to see, people say, to do whatever they think problem.
The policy itself is doing that. That's what.
Yeah. Well, we can look at it and just see if there's a. By that particular aspect.
The other thing. Someone, a group of person comes up with a road, So initially. They made them together. Then. I don't see it, restricted that, that the person who wants to do that, if they get preliminary authority, first of all, I think there should be notice given to the abutters that this plan is afoot. And when they come and vote, they get preliminary approval. And then all of a sudden it's done. Could be done in a couple of meetings. Pretty quick, work is done. It almost seems like more approval is given, subject to 30 area of the buyers, voicing the objection to either doing it or all over. No work in the town until we go through the process. But no obstruction.
It could be zoning permits with a key way.
Well, but I'll put a tank button in that one. I did all the people on the button. Then the third road. They have things like that, we're not road off and on all the time.
Right.
You know, there's a limit, a little bit of snow in that spot, that's like always good every time that they decide that they're gonna help that out. They, we gotta come get a permit in the 30-day period. Everything keeps going. And it's not, we don't have a good idea about what happens on a class 4 road.
There's a lot that they've done that we're not aware of. And it's evident by just traveling when you see the changes that happen. The class 4 roads though, when it comes to the work, to your point, Paul. On class 3 roads, we don't go to the abutters, we don't do anything else. They're town right of way. We as a town see to upgrade them or work on them. Right now, they're doing class 3 roads up in the hills near where I am, and they're widening them up quite a bit, and they're changing the whole character of the road and stuff. It's just part of their job, what they do. I don't particularly agree that if they're gonna be doing something on a class 4 road, that they're gonna have to wait 30 days and make sure all the people are happy with it and things. I understand, but you know,
And now I can't hear.
It seems that it's very do extensive work. Yeah, class 3, was it, you're under an obligation to maintain them all. Class 4, the language that people come forward that really want to change the whole character, which I think I've really seen. And that type of jump really seems that
Yeah, thank you. So I guess to discuss this a little bit further, I'm just wondering about the ramifications of that level of government involvement in this. I mean, it's the class 4 road are ones that are under our jurisdiction. So how do we deal with this, Ariane? Where are you?
Number 4. I'm just gonna go on from the says people should reflect their money tax and for all of the following conditions. So what I'm wondering. Do you consider, we haven't had a class 4 road cost. We now have a class 4 road cost. It stipulates that someone wants to leave work. They need to come apply for a class. And there's latitude in this policy for conditions to be in that. So I think that we're looking at is we're at the start of the ability to respond to the type of concerns involved with that. And at that start, what we have is a kind of process to do and the ability to attack conditions. So if we were to benefit different and was the problem, we could look at things like, oh, here's a realm present, oh, it's 740 cost. Oh, they're meeting the road by 75. We gotta take a look at this, we gotta evaluate it, we gotta make sure I understand the concern, but I do believe as Dave, one of the thoughts. This gives us a boundary. If what situations all from or not. I would encourage us to not over regulate at this time. Because as you have said in another time for the past few years. The idea of inventory, the idea of understanding happening at us, and we really are doing one on. I get focus. This policy supports that. As well as you think on it, I think we have some latitude.
No, that was good.
The concern that I have. Is highlight that. We overburden ourselves before. With having. You know, somebody, to Peter's point, somebody comes up and says, putting gravel on the road, well, one person putting gravel on the road might be five in a bucket, somebody else might be 4 dump well, you know what I'm saying? So where do we draw the line in making that decision? And I think what you just said, stated it very well, under 4B3, any other reasonable conditions that deemed necessary or appropriate, gives us that ability to act or not act as we see fit. And notwithstanding Paul's comment, I think that having, I don't want to say less control, but less interference, so to speak, and putting more work on ourselves, I don't think that's going to be a great idea. So I think as we go through this one more time, at least, I think thinking through as I read it, something called to mind, how do we make sure that we are being the best stewards of our roads while not overburdening
the minutia of what we're trying to do. And again, I think it really comes down to how do we encourage people to use the public lands that we have in a way that's beneficial and not causing more harm or whatever.
At least we'll have a document in place that gives us some latitude and gives us the direction that we could go in right now. Because what's happening, and Peter, you probably see a lot of it, I see quite a bit of it, there's a lot happening where it just goes on, and people just assume you can do it. Part of it is the discussion that I was hoping for is happening, that the word gets out there, that the class 4 roads are valuable asset to the town, and there are going to be a few regulations. I don't think any of these are overburdened. I think they're more protecting the town's right of way, the citizens' right.
No, I think that's about what, policy, here's what you're saying about the administrative nature of what. So, maybe it's more. I do encourage us to go back on saying about building investment when reference to other policies. Bring it up, but in reference to things like, short-term rentals, the ag management policy, placement, that is on what impact that policy has. I would put it this, we can do that, this policy, let's check in, let's check in. And see how close to that.
I agree.
I think I'm putting a step. We need to edit kind of place now, and that's.
No, and I'm not in any way saying we shouldn't adopt this policy. I'm just saying, I think we need to be clear in our thinking and consider the unintended consequences, because it will have unintended consequences. There always are, yeah. Yeah, so I mean, I'm just gonna make one more anecdotal statement, and that is that I live on a near class 3 road, and I hear dirt bikes going up it and just tearing it up, and it's like, I've literally gotten in my truck to drive over there to try to catch somebody, say, this is why we can't have nice things, because you're on your dirt bike ripping it up.
This is the class 3 road.
So under section 3, you have maintenance by town.
And then you have 3A. I'm confused about the difference. So 3A is permission for repair, maintenance, improvement, or restoration by a private entity. Shall not be unreasonably withheld by the road commissioner in conjunction with the town manager with the option for appeal to the select board. And then you have 4. What is the difference? I don't understand the difference. And then there's somebody who wants to do maintenance on a class 4 road and now they have to come to the select board. It feels like it's the same. I'm confused. That feels like something we need to have. I think someone needs to look at the policy and make sure we're not redundant. Any maintenance, like if somebody just wants to do maintenance on a class 4 road, they should not have to come to you. They can just go to Kirby. Yeah.
Well, also, I think that if you look at the heading 3 is maintenance by the town, and then the first paragraph is maintenance by somebody else, so
Exactly.
maybe that's in the wrong spot.
So just maintenance of the road.
Just take A right out of there.
Just take A right out of there, and then that's
Yep.
But in 3A, you're giving that to the road commissioner. In 4A, now what you're saying in 4A is that even if somebody wants to do maintenance, so roads and gravel down, they've got to come to the select board. I'm afraid.
Yeah, so that's
3A
select board part, different than it should be the road
Yeah.
commissioner, and that thing changes, that's why with everything else.
And then he spirals, him and I spiraled up to guys, obviously, if somebody wants to fall off to the road, that is not. That comes to the select board, so it's.
So back
There's
to
some
road
clarity
foreman
there.
in conjunction with,
With the road commissioner and select board.
no, in conjunction with the town. And you're on 4A, right?
100%. Yep.
Yeah,
but it shouldn't be one of these.
Yeah, the road commissioner someday could be somebody. on the
Right.
next select board. That's correct.
So what do you want us to say then?
And so say from the road foreman. In conjunction with town manager. Right, because then if it's something that's out of our authority by statute, then it is.
And then
And 3A
goes away.
And 3A goes away because it's,
And then the other one just get rewritten.
They're carrying out a point. Then you're gonna be wanting, you just send it out to us at some point.
Okay, so I just want to make sure I'm capturing what you guys want. On the first page, everything seems okay. Yeah, on the second page, A is disappearing, the first part of it, and then it becomes A, the town goes, that part of it.
Yeah.
Select board disappears, and it's the road foreman, adjustment to the town manager. Yep, 4A.
and for the sub 4, we
Yep.
have must follow in our best practice.
Here, you had.
4 eyes.
4. I know.
Must follow A and R best practice. That was the.
Right.
And R after that.
Maybe spell out agents, even access resources.
Something about ethics.
Our guys have everything. You want me to send this to Frank? Is Frank going to be making the changes?
Oh, no, I'm gonna be doing, I learned how to use Google Docs.
Okay.
Associate type, at least I know how to use.
I will
So,
give you, I'll get you copies of mine.
thank you.
Just one question, Lee, sorry. Because my audio is so poor up here, are you dropping 3A for the part about permission and repair by the road commissioner?
Yeah, and so the part that says the town shall provide, that will be. That will
The next thing that's not indented will become A. Okay, gotcha. Thank you.
All right, now from the class 4 roll call. Next is revisiting the flag policy, so you should have gotten a copy of the flag policy proposed with some additional documentation relative to federal statute. The reason it's on the agenda is because it was requested that we bring this up in September and we first discuss it in June. So everybody have anything they'd like to say about this?
Well, I'd like to start if I may.
Sure, go ahead, Tim.
I'm not sure what's changed, but since the spring, when this first really came to my mind, the flags along Main Street, at least, I'm not on North Street all that much, have been much better maintained. I don't know if that's a matter of the weather or people are actually taking care of them, but I've definitely noticed a difference. I think that's really encouraging. And it leads me to think that this policy is worthwhile. If having this discussion has led to that change, then it seems like a good direction to go in.
So I'd like to say that I think that you just turn this into a banner flag policy, then you just identify all of it. So you're not going out, we used to have a blood drawing banners and stuff like that, you know, so flag. So let's just broaden it out and take care of those things. Why just sit there and say?
Well, that's a fair question. My reference is back to the US flag policy. So I don't know how that plays into banners, but maybe you could.
Start with you, start by right now. How it's made itself, everything. Down, matter flag, it doesn't really matter. It's how you represent. That, so we're gonna do that, we always find banners that are spread across the street. Let's just clean that all up. So rather than just seeing the flag, it's so much.
We have banners on top of.
Oh, you have banners.
We used to all the time. Yeah. But,
We don't
and,
have
and
them.
if people ask for permission to put those up, I assume.
Yeah, but I think we don't.
So that's no longer an issue. And this is only pertaining to US and state of Vermont flags, which are governed by a flag code, right? That's what I'm referencing, yeah.
So I guess, Peter, just to clarify your point, you think that if we have a flag policy, it should apply to any flag, not just the US or the state flag?
If you're trying to make, the impression you're trying to make is like, that things you want to take to it. Or if it's on a utility pole in the right way, all those small things.
So I'm not sure, and correct me if I'm wrong, but it seems to me that the intent of this particular policy, as it was brought to our attention, was specifically for the American flag.
Correct.
And possibly the state flag. And because of the value or the honor that we want to show to our national symbol, the thought, I think, was that we should have some way to encourage people who are displaying American flags to do it in the appropriate manner. Is that?
Yes.
That, yeah, stated. So I honestly, when you said, Tim, that you saw a great improvement in the way the flags were being displayed and maintained and all that stuff, I kind of thought you were going to go down the road of, oh, we don't need the policy then.
No, I think the policy, I think this discussion, maybe I'm wrong. I don't, maybe it's just the weather conditions.
Yeah,
that
it
change,
could be,
you know.
yeah.
And maybe when when it rains again someday and we get
Some wind.
some wind
Yeah.
and wet, maybe the problem reappears. I don't know.
Yeah.
And, you know, I was hoping somebody from the Legion might be here. I've had a couple of conversations with folks about it. And I think trying to read between the lines, so I want to be careful. I think maybe there's some perception that there's more to this than just displaying a flag properly. That's all it's.
Right,
Yeah.
and that's what I picked up from you.
Right.
And I appreciate that. Miranda, you had a comment?
What I had hoped was just by having the discussion, we would see things go well and then we can policy. So I just need to make it, and that's all I'm saying. My intention, and I said, let's wait until September, is let's see if the conversation is in fact.
And we don't know that because we haven't had anybody from Legion come in here and tell us what they've been doing differently. I saw a Legion member and I thanked them. And I got no response. So I don't know if they've been working on them or citizens are doing or not.
I do think that it is because people have, I know that Jeff Holden is watching them closer. I do think people are watching them.
That's
closer
terrific.
because of the conversation that was had.
So-
I do think it's a direct result.
So having a policy doesn't do any harm to that. And maybe down the road, it's something that we would need to reference again. I mean, I really don't see why there'd be it seems like we're all in agreement. The US flag should be displayed according to the flag code whenever possible. So what's the objection to having the flag policy? That's all it says.
Yeah, and honestly, I don't necessarily object to having a flag policy, but we already have two. The federal and the state. So when we had the town one, is that gonna make a difference?
Because the difference, so going way back here now, the difference is that when permission was asked of the select board, this body, to install US flags over town property, that was a request of the select board. And I think if the select board at that time had said, yes, as long as you do it in accordance with US flag code, there would have been no question about it. All right, everybody would have said, of course, we want to do that. So I don't see why we wouldn't want to do that now. It seems simple to me.
I don't find myself being following the formula that the first time I don't see the. I'm not looking at it, so that's, I have no.
I guess I feel the same way. You know, my mantra is unintended consequences. And I don't necessarily see any unintended consequences of adopting a policy like this, but again, I'm not necessarily seeing the necessity of it to the point that we need to formalize this.
You know, and when I look at a policy like this and I see what's going on, I kind of agree with you guys that I don't see a reason for or against it and stuff. But part of what is driving my decision is not what's happening here in the town, but the influence what's happening in the country. Because the flag has become a polarizing issue, even the flag in certain ways has become a polarizing issue, which is a shame that it's gotten to that point where people are reading into what the flag means or assuming different meanings. Just what it is. And that's why I have a hard time making a decision, because no matter what we do, we're gonna catch flack one way or another.
That's why we're on the select board.
Well, I know. So it's kind of sometimes easier just to sit back and be quiet and let it all roll by. Because I have some people ask me about the flag recently, and I am not gonna bring up some of the issues that were brought up because I don't think it's appropriate to discuss them at this level until a person comes forward to make that a statement regarding. But there's conflict with it already. And just making a decision to me is I'm conflicted about it because of that. It should be straightforward. It really should. You should be able to look at it and say, yeah, it's a flag policy. We're gonna adopt it. It's the federal one. It should be no problem and everything's gonna be good. It's not. Not in my idea. I mean, not my, thought, and I think what, repercussions. I think it's a shame that it's that way, but that's some of the influence that I'm having. Which is why I not, really making a decision about to do it or not to do it. I don't think it's gonna hurt anything. I think it would be fine. The whole reason it was brought up was a good reason. It was, because of the treatment of the flag. But it's been morphed into different things all over in different ways. So we're put in the middle of it. And no matter how well mean our intentions are, some people aren't gonna see it.
So I normally don't like to go down the what if road. Because it's a can of worms, right? But, so there were issues for several years until this came to the board. And now there are no issues. We don't know why there are no issues, but at the moment, there are no issues. Julie says they're taking better care of it. That's great. So, the Legion's been doing a great job. They volunteer, they put the flags up, they spend the money on it. That's terrific. The next group of Legionnaires that come in maybe don't have this history or don't recall this history, and the whole thing starts over again. So then we're gonna have to go through this all over again. I guess I'm gonna just remake my one point. What harm does it do to have a policy that says if you're gonna fly a US flag over town property, it needs to be done in accordance with the US flag code? That's all this says, and I don't know why there's resistance to that.
I don't know if there's not. Not necessarily, I think it's different than resistance. Like
Resistance to adopting it.
my first, I don't have it, I don't have. I'm still thinking there any of this up kind of. So I think you made the case for the development. You rather just feel like you're gonna move, or I don't feel like I would want to move this goal one way or the other. I also think someone wants to move the goal. That's fine. It's we have a state policy, we have a budget. Again, it's not resistance, it's automatic. I don't see what. I don't think it's. So you make a case. You make a case that I understand what you've expressed. I appreciate and have taken much more than how we have for the conversation. That's all. I think what this is more business that the town vision and by
Thank you.
that is the. I appreciate that. So it's a reinforcement of the existing.
Which many people really aren't aware of. If you look at how people fly US flags, they have never read the flag code. So maybe this helps promote people reading the flag code.
And is there resistance? Following US flag code. Following US flag code. To some. In our community. Is a consent. So you're making a statement when you sign that, one way or the other, then making a statement that you as a board agree to abide by all the requirements. So when it actually is on the mass, it gets on the mass, when it's lit, and you're agreeing to abide by the US flag code. Right. There are some. Our culture today that don't necessarily. So I just throw that out there for you guys, for discussion based on things that I have heard from individuals in the. So, so, I'll just.
Question I have is if you don't, all those. And that's.
Under current practice, yes, the town.
Yeah, so that's what I'm saying, but, yeah, I think Tim's point, it's a good point, that by having policy, it encourages other members of the community to also follow.
Or at least be aware of it, and people can do as they wish on their private property. I mean, I've seen some pretty atrocious flags that were out, and when I brought this to the board 3 years ago, I got some feedback in the community, said, well, you want to go talk to that person over there? It's no, that's on private property, that's their business. They should be made aware of the flag code, I think, but that's not my job. So if there's no appetite for it, I'm willing to drop it, but I don't see that there's any harm in adopting this, and I think there's some good that can come out of it.
I'll make a motion that we accept the town of Chester, United States and state of Vermont flag display policy as it is written and is.
I'll second it.
I think we have to find out what we're gonna have, what it's gonna cost us. So, because now you're gonna light your flags.
No, you don't.
No,
You haven't read the flag code.
The flag code, that is when. I was just an example of different things that have, we, on town property, the way we display the flag, we follow the that over it all. That is called, word of adoption. Word of adoption policy, and procedure that have that, we follow the flag code.
And there are no civil or criminal penalties for not following.
Right,
Make them
that's
look
right.
at
It is a suggestion and it is a procedure that they likely to follow, but there's really no repercussions. Hopefully you're adopting a policy to follow, which we do.
Okay, so I have a motion by Arnie and a second by Tim, and we've had some conversation and a discussion. The only question I have is, my copy says dated at Chester this 18th day of June 2025.
So I will change the date and we will all the stuff. They'll go to that.
Any other comments? All in favor of adopting the town of Chester, United States and state of Vermont flag display policy, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, nay.
You want to start in or do you want me to start?
Either way, it's
Next
fine,
one,
whatever.
it's fine, yeah. Tim, thank you for your patience.
I am a patient man. Most of the time.
Except when I'm not. All right, request a cater permit. So we have received a request for catering. This is on 988 Cavendish Road in Chester, and it's a start date and time of October 4, 2025 at 4 p.m. going to October 4, 2025. Entertaining motions to accept the requested catering permit.
Second,
Ariana's motion in second, any discussion?
Yeah, I'm just curious. It is a private residence on Cavendish Road, 90 feet. Is this residence taking off the parking or not?
I think it might be a lot.
Oh, but they have facilities enough to park cars and not, and that's the road there.
Well, that's not. We don't typically look at that when it's a one-time event that somebody comes to their house. I mean, if they were gonna be doing it consecutively, then it would.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Next is a cemetery deed. So we have a, sign.
We're ready. Wake up.
Are we done? All right, new business next agenda. So,
Next agenda, you have CDC, Seta, also Seta, the kind of price policy. You also open up the loss tax on again. And price policy.
And nothing for October 15th.
We don't have anything at this point, so again, that's up to you guys. What you want to do.
well, at this point, if you don't need to have the meeting, I don't see a reason to, but I think we can get the decision.
That makes sense.
Miss-
Go ahead.
what you-
Oh, yes, yes. So as I referenced at the beginning of this meeting, Bill Bacon has resigned as town moderator, and because of that, we are in a position of having to find a replacement, and statute requires that we notify. So if you want
We
to
just have to post.
post.
Is that an elected position?
It's an elected
Yeah,
position.
Yeah.
So we normally, we elect our moderator at town, by us on the ballot. So town meeting before the election, so you need to appoint somebody. So the appointment of a moderator, when it's in that position between vacant, we post the position, in two public places. We need to post it like we did every other. And then solicit anybody interested. Basically, all they're gonna do is run town meeting, and then but they can be on the ballot to be elected. So that's what we guys.
Feel like a giant, for them.
Yeah.
If you can run this meeting.
And I know there are individuals interested, at least one that I'm aware of. So I will reach out to him and let him know that I have.
So whoever gets appointed to that position, they're not gonna be required to get signatures at
No,
all?
they
Is
will.
there- Oh, they will, to run,
So.
even though they're appointed?
You appoint to the next election.
Yeah,
Every appointment you make is just to the next election.
well, I know it's to the next election, but does that mean you have to get the signatures of 30 voters to be
On the ballot, yes,
Yeah.
yes, yeah, all of them do need to the next election, then they have to follow the actual law.
And are there any restrictions relative to serving on other board committees or anything, or is that?
I will look that up. I think that moderator, I think there are some conflicts. Oh, the select board probably cannot. I'm sure there's some conflicts. I can look that up.
I mean, we've had policies regarding our select board being on other commissions before.
Yeah, that
Yes, we do.
moderator might.
That's a
be
statute.
different, But
There's-
there's an obvious conflict too.
Yeah, because the select board's there.
Right.
There's statutes that reference. conflict law. So I'll look it up. So I will go ahead and post. a notice.
Is there an age requirement?
Ever since I've lived here.
It's been built, yeah, right, right. And he was always so calm and in control.
Knew the
Just
procedure.
took,
no
yeah,
Robert's
walked right through it,
rules.
never needed a gavel. Just did it.
I know. Any other business that? That's it. Hearing none, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Tim's motion. Second. Just a second, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, nay? Thank you all for the